This is Kyle, and as you can tell, this is another episode of Kyle's Passive Views, where today's options for the polls for you people decide were Happy Feet, The Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie, Super Mario Bros., The Great Mission to Rescue Princess Peach, The Amazing Maurice, and The Little Mermaid. And you guys chose The Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie. I'm gonna be honest with you people. I've never really had too much of an interest into the series itself. I never really was too interested on checking out the content it had or how the series would go. I just never thought an interest and I was more unique on watching the 2012 series. But it doesn't mean I haven't really fully watched the episodes. I did see some episodes whenever they would be aired on TV and I thought there would be a nice calm mood for me to put in. And I will say that the series does have a nice fan base. So there's a good chance that the film will have a movie onto Netflix, which is the one that I'm reviewing right now. So now that the Turtles are on their quest in order to prevent Krang from taking over the world, did this film actually get higher my expectations than I thought? So the plot of the film is about the Turtles who were informed by a guy from the future called Casey Jones, infuriating that Krang will be from the future and appearing on Earth to conquer it and make us their home. So it's up to the Turtles to prevent them from making that happen. I mean, sure, the plot doesn't really sound like it will show off much, and that's probably the best way to say it. It doesn't really feel like it wants to tell much into a basic plot like that. Because it more often rushes through most every scenes. And I think that could be understandable because this film is about like an hour and 20 minutes long. So it can and not help that it kind of feels like it's a bit rushed. But even if the plot and it kind of feels a bit rushed at times, the execution is actually a bit of an admiration for the story. The best notable part of this is the grounded tone. Half of it is mostly where it adds the right scenes with the emotion, mostly with Leonardo and how he's trying to improve himself, or when the action scenes get intense, mostly with Krang on how he shows off an intimidating look that does stay true to like the character from the old series, while getting a bit of an upgrade. And then there's the comedy. And I would say that some of the jokes won't hit the mark since it's mostly based on how the characters are and on their personality. But I'll give that there were some jokes that did give me a bit of a chuckle and even gave me a bit of a laugh just to know how unpredictable they can be. The plot may not offer much, but at least I'll give that the writers still give their all into this feature. And as for the characters, they have an interesting hot topic onto them. Especially for someone like me who's mostly new to the franchise. There was one interesting fact that I just realized in how Leonardo and Raphael just switched places, where Leonardo is now the more hot-headed one of the group and thinks he doesn't need no help and thinks he can do it on his own, while Raph is the one that's most focused and actually knows what's right for the Turtles. For Leo, he mostly goes through the film on how what's best for him to go through conflicts of him being a leader, which does add also for some touching moments. And Raph doesn't really get to appear much of the film until the end, where he's basically controlled by Krang. I wouldn't say too much for like the other turtles either, like how Donatello was mostly just the intelligent one who's just so full of himself, while Michelangelo being the usual type of young teenage turtle that you would mostly expect from the series. But this time in this movie, where he's trying to learn the ability to teleport and make portals. I wasn't say teleport. I meant portal. Oh, and even for like even April, Neo, and Splinter, they're mostly just the helpers that help the turtles out. But then there's Casey Jones, who, unlike the one from the other series, his role in the film is mostly from the future, where he used to have Leonardo as his leader, and that's why in this movie, where he helps the turtles out in order to prevent Krang from happening, while also teaching Leo a lesson of what it means to be a great leader. And I even say, and then there is the villains Krang 1, Krang 2, and Krang 3. With the first Krang, he is probably the most intimidating villain I've seen in the TMNT film, where he actually shows a lot more of his threatening side, where I'm actually quite surprised that this film used a lot more blood in there. And with an excellent performance by Jim Peary, And I even say right now that other characters do have some decent performance by other actors. Sure, there's like Ben Schwartz and of course Josh Brenner, who are obviously known for making the right acting choice. But for the new characters like Haley Joel Osment and Jim Peary, well, again, yes, and even for like talks, yeah, I could go all day. They actually do actually put up a nice new addition to the solid performance to this franchise. I mean, sure, there's in you wouldn't in when you try to learn the lore about the characters, there isn't much to them, like they're similar to the series. But at least I'll give that they did put up a nice performance by actors and do put up a solid role into the film itself. The animation here is a bit of an interesting take, I must say. Hey, and I'm just saying that because of how much the animation got a big upgrade compared to the TV series. The most improved I can say with this is the character animation, where it's a lot more smooth and fluid compared to the series, even if it can have some bit of limitations. But they aren't too noticeable enough to ruin the experience. And which I'll even give that even for the character designs, well, even they have a lot of shading on them, which can be shown they are a lot more detailed, of course. And I'll even say right now that the use of backgrounds are nice to show off the big details of New York, or even the sewers, or even the place that Krang owns, that uses as his base, that has literally enemies of his own. And I even use the use of the effects. It's actually pretty neat. With mostly used for to the turtles' abilities with the weapons, and even with some explosions or whatever you can think of. And I even say or tell that you now that the use of expressions here are very noticeable. That they are quite easy to read, and they are very nice. Right, where they can be a lot more expressive, a bit emotional, or which goes either way. If I have to find the one criticism with the animation, is the character designs. Now, I'm not saying all of them are bad or something like that. There are some character designs I do like, which are from Leonardo, Donatello, Michelangelo, Casey Jones, April, Krang. I could go all day with these guys. But there are others like Raph and Splinter that have a bit of a questionable design based on their so-called purpose. But besides that, at least I could say that the animation certainly got a big upgrade, especially by 2D standards. Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie, is honestly quite an unexpected term for me, which is a bit similar to other films I've seen, like Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, where the film can have a bit of a short running time, around like an hour and 22 minutes. It's with with not so much of an interesting plot or characters that don't do much throughout the film. Well, at least to give that it does have a great balance of decent humor, a very neat emotional core, and improved animation, and pretty solid acting by actors that are quite familiar with the show or just new involved. And even say that even if film could not really like even a bit mixed on it, well, half wouldn't be interested in the film when they're just newcomers, or others that could be into it if they don't have to be fans of the show or even watch the series in order to get the enjoyment out of it. Honestly, I think you could just go with the watch the film tone instead. Yeah, since you could still get a bit of enjoyment out of this. Yes, at least in your type of direction. Which is enough for me to give this a seal of good. Honestly, I hope this film actually gets some more recognition into people's favors, as hopefully I will say the same for the Seth Rogen feature. And a few people wonder what film will be next for this review. If that's for you to decide, just go to the community page onto my YouTube channel and you will find the poll there. And the film and the options for today's review, for next month are Coraline, How to Train Your Dragon, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, The Angry Birds movie, and The Lorax. Thanks for watching. This is Kyle's Web Entertainment.